What's up, Seth? What's going on?
Going good, man. E3, it's crazy.
Awesome, awesome. We have a couple questions. I know a few of them. It's from on Twitter and from Pasta too, right?
Yeah.
All right, first question.
Okay. So my first question, you guys have already announced that Cole McGrath is going to be a PlayStation exclusive character as a fighter. It's a two-part question. How is he going to balance in the game? And also, have you guys made any plans for a Microsoft exclusive?
Nothing to announce right now for Microsoft, but as far as the balancing goes, we treat him just like anybody else. We're starting him with the, his powers are pretty over the top and crazy, so we're starting him a little crazy, but most characters start a little crazy and then we reel him back in if we have to.
Yeah.
But right now, he's got his electric tornado, he's got some great wall bounce kind of fireballs, but really trying to stay faithful to a lot of the things that happen in Infamous 2. So I know that game just came out, a lot of people haven't had a chance to play, but once they get a chance to go hands-on with that, I think you'll see a very faithful representation of some of what he does in that game coming over to this world, but in a way that doesn't make him ridiculously overpowered.
Cool. Cool.
Crossing fingers.
This one is from one of our staff members, Paulson J.
Cool.
Paulson J.
You met him before.
Yeah. But he asked, in Street Fighter 3 you added the parry system, Street Fighter 4 you added focus attacks. Are you adding any new gameplay mechanics to Street Fighter X Tekken?
Cross Tekken, so basically it's all about the tagging. So, there's a bunch of variations on things, but really the focus system has been basically, it's the same two buttons, the middle punch and middle kick, which you use to tag now. So of course you can just stand there and hit tag and the other guy will come in. You can also do chains like light, medium, hard, and then hit hard again, and that'll do a launcher, which will tag the other guy in. But where it really gets interesting is what are called tag cancels. So basically, the same way you could focus cancel in Street Fighter 4, you can now tag cancel. So I can be sticking out moves or attacks or whatever, cancel that with the tag, bring the other guy in while the other attack is still happening. So I always think about like Ken's Hurricane Kick, keeps you in the egg beater for a while there, it's going. Basically, I can tag cancel that at any time. My other character will run out onto the field and be able to beat you up while you're still getting hit by Ken's Hurricane Kick. So that's where the real juice comes in. And it's also, the other thing I want to add about the tag cancels is it's pretty flexible. Like, focus cancels were hard for a lot of people because you had to really execute that in a very tight window and then dash to get out of the focus attack, which made it a fairly complicated maneuver to do some of those cool combos into Ultra and things like that. With tag cancels, you can cancel at any time during the animation of the special move. So it's a much bigger window, but that also makes it more flexible. So if you're an advanced player, there's more stuff you can do with it. You don't have to cancel in that narrow window anymore. So that's what it's really all about. That's the new mechanic.
Yeah, but what about Tekken? How you guys came up with the moves for Tekken? Because it's a totally different style than Street Fighter.
The Tekken characters came about because they're from Tekken. So we try to be faithful to a lot of their favorite techniques and moves in Tekken, and bring those over into a sort of a Street Fighter universe. So there's two sort of really easy top-line things. One, they all have what's called a command dash in some way, shape, or form, which will help them dodge fireballs. Whether that be Julia has kind of a backspin, Bob has sort of like a low-to-the-ground dash like he did in Tekken as well, and that can all help them avoid fireballs. But then, there's a lot of ways. So the other easy way that so I think that advantages that people would be worried that the Street Fighter players would have is like, hey, I've been playing Street Fighter for a long time. I know how to throw a Sonic Boom and a Fireball and do Chun-Li's, lightning legs and all that. So I have a big advantage coming into Street Fighter Cross Tekken over a Tekken guy. But Tekken guys are familiar with their strings and patterns from previous Tekken games. Those all work in Cross Tekken as well.
Okay.
And you can execute them on the first 4 buttons of the controller as well. So if you're familiar with the Tekken pad or a control stick, you can bang those out the same way you always used to in the Tekken style, and they'll work in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Of course, all those moves are in a new environment with new mechanics and new systems, but as far as the implementation of Tekken stuff goes, it's been really smooth. And you also got things like wall or ground bounce, where everybody can slam people off the ground like you could in Tekken 6. And I'm starting to go on too long about this, get a little nerdy, but it's even the special moves of the characters are sort of Tekken style. So, like Bob has a roll that he can do, and then he can, depending on if he hits another button, so the roll actually hits, but if he hits a second button, it'll go into a quick overhead flop, or he can go low, or he can go low into a launch, or he can just do nothing. And that's exactly like Tekken, where you keep that pressure, you rush, where he's going to go high, low, and he gets that sort of guessing game. So the Tekken guys, I think, it's a Street Fighter universe, closer to that, but you get that same sort of Tekken rhythm of like, in-your-face guessing games and up and down. So I hope people get a chance to get hands-on and make up their own mind.
I know you guys made had a couple announcements. I think it was during the Sony press conference with a new handheld, PS Vita.
Indeed.
Can you guys talk about that a little bit more?
No, it's just I mean, it's a really powerful piece of hardware. So they were able to execute. You know, we've been lucky to be in communication with Sony for a while and been able to get this planned not only for 360 and PS3 but also for the Vita, which is a really powerful.
Could we see could we see something that cross game online?
Oh, we have more surprises in store for the Vita version. So yeah.
All right, cool.
Stay tuned.
All right.
I guess so. If I'm understanding right, it's a Capcom game, so it's going to default mostly the Street Fighter controls. But for those Tekken faithful, they'll still be able to use that 4-button layout they're so used to playing with.
Yeah, you can use the 4-button layout. You always have 6 buttons at all times. But if there's a familiar string, you can bang it out on 4 buttons like you always could. You still have those extra 2 buttons. So maybe you're going to jump in with like a hard kick. Even if you're playing like Nina and have a chain that you want to do, you jump in with hard kick, but you wouldn't do it Tekken, right? You don't do too much jumping in Tekken. And then you go into your chain that you're familiar with before, into the palms, and you can play it straight up like that. So it's a new game for everybody. You know, traditional Street Fighter fans are going to have a lot of surprises in this game as well. So I agree that it's definitely a little easier to make the entrance from Street Fighter, but Tekken guys I think have a lot of background as well. Plus they've already got those long move lists memorized. So I look at those Tekken move lists and I'm like, man, this character has a lot of moves.
So how you guys pick the characters from Street Fighter and Tekken? Was it due to popularity or just based on your guys?
A bit of popularity. I mean, we wanted to hit some high points as far as the series go and make sure that, you know, obviously you want to see a Chun-Li, you want to see a Ryu and stuff like that. Because obviously what makes the franchises colliding so interesting is seeing some of your very favorites finally go at it. You know, if it was all like, hey, it's just Junie and Julie and like a bunch of other like lesser-known Street Fighter characters versus a bunch of lesser-known Tekken characters, that's less exciting. So we had to hit the high points, but we definitely have some surprises. So we actually went through and made a list of our favorites, who we thought would work. And again, another priority was diversity in gameplay styles, because we wanted to keep a flexible cast of, you know, certain characters appeal to different people for different reasons. We wanted to keep that flexible and open.
All right. Cool. And one more question. I'm a fan of the iPad. I know you guys have Street Fighter for that. Also, are we going to see maybe in the future more Street Fighter games for the iPad?
On the iPad, so we just announced for iPhone Street Fighter Volt. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. There's a lot of E3 news in the past day. It just went live yesterday. So Street Fighter Volt, worldwide online play, and a bunch of other cool features. So check that out. And I think the iPad offerings are going to be increasing as well. We have a whole new mobile division now at Capcom that's actually become an independent unit. So they're going to be doing a lot of amazing things. And I think iPad is right at the top of their list.
All right, cool. Thanks. Anything else before we wrap it up?
One for our fans. I'm not really heavy into fighting games, so I don't understand what he's asking.
I'm going to jump down your throat.
Exactly. But yes, who are the Tier 1 fighters in Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Oh, Tier 1 fighters? We're a long way from balancing, from finishing up a balance on this. So you've only seen a small part of the cast here so far, and I'm getting a lot of that from all my, you know, my old friends who are here at the show, hardcore fighting game guys, and they're talking about, well, what about this and this balance thing and this will be did. I'm just like, there's time for this discussion, but it's not on this build. So we're a long way from finished as far as like the details go. But right now, I actually got to say, I think the Tekken guys have a leg up on the Street Fighters. Some of them are, you know, when they get in your face, it's really brutal, and they all have ways to dodge the fireballs. So it's I'm afraid of the Tekken characters right now.
Awesome. Hi, Seth. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Oh, you can give a shout out to Poston J. That's his name. Give him a shout out.
Shout out to Possum J.
Yeah. All right. All right. Cool. Thanks, man.